But what about the Gambit attack on the Wookiees? Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. Guys, I've got Endall BL here, the must-see master of GAC. He's a fellow content creator. If you don't know who he is, go check out the video description, and we'll have a link to his YouTube channel. Gotta watch his stuff. He knows so much stuff. Like, he lost last season, and we were all just like, what? Like, you lost? How did that happen? Just a really good player and a great guy on top of it, part of the Gambit Alliance. I'm just not letting him talk for a minute. But what we're doing today, folks, is we're talking about 3v3 prep, and these are our offensive teams. We're going to have a video for defensive teams released right after this one. But for now, we don't want to do 3v3. Lots of cool comps today. Endall, thank you so much for joining me, and sorry for making you just listen to me babble for a full minute before you got to talk.
Hey Zareth, hey community. Always great to be here. This is definitely one of my favorite collabs of the month. 3v3 and 5v3 prep seasons is it always gets tricky, but having these collabs always brings my mind to a single focus point.
Yeah, I love it, man. And you have such good insights, and just being able to just take all the dust off, 5v5. I'm so tired of it right now, and I'll be excited for it once it's time for it again. But 3v3, how do we 3v3? I don't actually know. So it's nice to actually just talk to you about it and shake off that dust. And now I think we're kind of just ready.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ish. So one thing I did want to mention, guys, in both of the videos that we're releasing today, no mention of Galactic Legends, really, other than just like a little bit of how they interact with characters. If, sometimes Ahsoka is going to want to go with Kenobi, etc. But for the most part, we're doing things without Galactic Legends, and then I may end up releasing a video about Galactic Legends and how they interact a little bit later. But for the most part, we just want to keep the basic teams here and accessible to every player out there, instead of like, oh, sorry, like you don't have access to X character, like you don't get a comp with these three characters because you have a Galactic Legend or whatever. That being said, Endall, we've got our bounty hunter split here to start off. Is this what you use? I know this is what I like to use. What do you do? What do you like about this bounty hunters?
Well, bounty hunters in general in 3v3, I love to keep them on offense, just because they've got so many amazing ability to prevent revives, go around taunt, and that contract ability. Even though it's tougher to get the contracts in 3s and 5s, there are ways around it, and they are a really versatile faction to use on offense. So you'll never see me keep bounty hunters on defense. And these two comps are something that I use quite a lot. In fact, the aura with Grief and Mando, especially if your Grief is fast and you're able to have enough crit chance on your Mando, you can get out in front of a lot of teams in 3s and get your contract fast and annihilate a character straight away. So even though my aura is only G11, I do use this team quite a lot on offense.
Yeah, I really like, if you're okay with Aura sometimes just disappearing, and even at Relic 2 that happens, if you're okay with every once in a while just losing 3 banners because of that, like the Aura lead team is just so efficient. Like, it's not going to probably take down like Grievous necessarily because everyone's pretty squishy there except for Grief, but like I do really just like Aura lead on a ton of different teams. It just gets dicey. Realistically, I'm going to be getting her relics up to 5 before 3v3 lock. But, it kills so much stuff, and it's nice. The Bosk team is also good, but you can also mix and match. So it's cool.
Yeah, the one thing that I really love taking Bosk, Grief, and Mando against is Grievous, especially if Grievous is with B1 and B2, where there's no tank around, no taunt around. You can target the weakest character, B1, pretty easily and get your contract off with Bosk lead, because you've got Bosk and Grief who can call mass assists. And then you can, once Mando has got his contract, he can execute Grievous right away. And then the rest of the battle, you're just getting back to 54.
Yeah, so This is the splits that I use, and typically I actually do like having Bosk on defense sometimes, just because like the number of relics here and the level of resilience can't be really understated, like, or overstated. Like it's just very difficult to beat with some teams, like with medium level teams, the higher level teams obviously, but like Relic 8 on Boba, because they made me do it for Executor. That's one of those characters, it's like they make me put Relic 8 on Grandmaster Yoda, I'm actually okay with that. Same with Boba, not okay with doing that on Darth Sidious though. So that being said, another workhorse on offense for 3v3, and some people put it on defense, and I guess that's okay too. If you have a fast enough Piet, this can be a tough team. But the Troopers team takes out so much. What do you kill with Troopers, Endall?
Oh, everything. I've killed CLS squads with it. I've killed JTR squads because your Piet under Veer's lead sometimes can even get faster than a BB8. I've even killed a Darth Revan squad, even though my General Veers is only G12. I have loaded him with tons of crit chance, 86% crit chance, in fact. So with his special or his unique, he actually gets above 100%. So that kind of a modding is really great if you're going up against Darth Revan. It's not always great banners, but you can do decent damage against Darth Revan squad.
Yeah, you can take out Darth Revan squads with this if you have the right speeds and everything. And honestly, if there's no Malak in there, it's just a turkey shoot. Like these guys just you have to be faster than Darth Revan, obviously. But yeah, this team just keeps giving, man. Dark Trooper. I love that they were like gifted back the relics to people, and some people are like, oh sure, like Relic 5 on Dark Trooper's fine. Get him back up to 8. Like, what are you doing? He's crazy. He does so much damage against everything. As long as he's allowed to punch, he will kill it. So next up, this is a team that you kind of I wouldn't say you dared me to, but you inspired me. There we go. You were using this team against like Crew and I love the Bando IG Quill team.
Yes, I mean IG Bando and Quill, I would never keep it on defense because Geos take it out very easily. But on offense, they do so much hard work on offense. They can take out Separatist squads, those annoying Dooku squads, and all those. They can take it out with ease. All those banner stealing First Order squads with Crew and Kylo and Red Trooper and all those guys. These guys do a really amazing job at ending with 54 banners against those. That's primarily what I use this team on offense for.
Yeah, the 54 is so consistent with these guys, and especially I'm excited to use them now that I have them clocked right. I didn't have Quill fast for a long time. I had IG-11 faster than Bando, but now the proper turn order is fast. You want fast Quill, and mine is okay. He's at like 320, but then Bando goes next. Quill gives everyone turn meter. Bando goes next, goes into poop stance. IG-11 does his AoE for a couple of whistling birds, and eventually Bando gets another turn and kills Dooku at least in one shot.
Yeah. Well, the other team that this one does really well against is any team which can stun or apply debuffs. Like stunning especially. I mean, Quill can't be stunned. IG-11, he dispels all the debuffs on him whenever he takes a turn. So, like Night Sisters, for example, with all the stuns that Daka and Asajj and all do, these guys are just going to shrug it off, and then Bam is going to go with Whistling Birds and prevent revives right away. So Night Sisters is another hard counter this is another hard counter against a team like Night Sisters, which relies so much on stuns and debuffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keep in mind, if you're plagued, you can't dispel the stun. But I mean, you have a limited number of resources, and Night Sisters, they do just melt because they don't get revives. They get healing immunity from Bando, and they can't dispel that. It's a whole big mess for that team. I really do love this team on offense, and they just get one shot by Geos for like 51 to 54 every time, regardless of almost of the Geo team. So, keep it for offense, in my opinion.
Absolutely. The tankier the IG-11, the more higher the chance of 54 with Geos.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, you're like, wow, this is awesome. I'm gonna kill the other two guys and then take my time killing IG, get that 54. So next up, we have Jedi training Rey with her coterie of droids. I mean, I've always loved this comp on offense and honestly on defense. If you have BB8 fast enough, it's tough to find a team that can actually beat this squad on defense if you have if you have a really fast BB-8. But offense kills that Chupio, the CLS Chupio team. What else do you use them for, Endall?
Anything which where you need to get ahead of the enemy bounty hunters. It can kill. I believe even the BAM team it can take out. Obviously, you have to be careful against Night Sisters and all because you don't want Plague because there's no real way of healing these guys. But any team that you want to get ahead of and control, these guys do well against them.
Yeah, I really like their turn meter manipulation. Like, this is the type of team that sometimes your opponent just doesn't even take a turn because you've got the stun that you can control, you've got tenacity down for BB-8, you've got all of the different force powers that Rey has at her disposal. It's a fairly effective team. And with the two droids, I have to stress this, guys. Having R2-D2 on other teams might seem nice, but he is really nice to keep BB-8's bonus turn meter at the very start high. He gives another 8% bonus turn meter to BB-8 to start the match, so that's pretty important.
One thing which you can probably take this team against is, you might see some of these tricky Maul teams sometimes with Dooku or Sidious. These guys, they might not be able to. In most cases, they might be able to get ahead of the Maul team as well. And with R2-D2 applying burning, that actually reduces evasion on the enemy team, so they won't evade as much and gain turn meter and go into stealth and all of that. So R2-D2, when he initially came out, he was basically a direct counter to the Maul meta. So that's something to keep in mind as well.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. And R2-D2 as well. If everyone gets dazed by Maul, all they have to do is do one crit, and they dispel it. As long as you have the Zeta from R2. Which why don't you have that Zeta? I have no idea. So go do it. Go forth and apply Zetas. Now the Wedge Chewie team doesn't necessarily need, or sorry, the Han Chewie team doesn't necessarily need Wedge lead, though I do like Wedge just because he gets Han Solo spinning so ridiculously fast. Because of his lead, when you do a crit, you gain 10% turn meter, and on top of a fast Han, which mine is 300, something like that. Yeah, 300 speed. He is. And it's actually ludicrous because it's not even speed mods. I've over-invested in him, but having him that fast means he's going to a lot of times take back-to-back turns. He'll do his bonus turn, and then whoever has the most turn meter after that, he's gained 20% already because he did 2 crits. A lot of times he's just going to go back-to-back, and so he can actually, theoretically, he could do his double tap. Then he can do his big hit, Deadeye, I think is what it's called. And then he can do quick draw again. He can do 5 hits in a row with Chewie assisting every single time before anyone goes. It's, if you have him modded to be really fast. So, I don't know. This team is actually fairly deadly.
It's a premium team on offense. Han Solo and Chewie, and you can, like you said, you can put them under so many different leads. I prefer to use them under Kira lead. A lot of people use Lando, Rolo. I've even tried these two guys under Bosk lead on defense, like Bosk with guard and crit immunity and stun immunity. That is it's a rough team to go against on defense. But obviously Bosk has got much better places to be now. But at one time I used to use Bosk, Han, and Chewie as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That works too. One thing I do want to say is that you can form a super team if you need to take out General Skywalker. You can use Bando lead with Han and Chewie, and what ends up happening is because of Bando being there, when you get someone to below a certain health threshold, then Bando immediately takes a bonus turn and gives damage immunity to himself and the character who you target, and so you're getting a ton of you can take out General Skywalker relatively easily. Especially now that Skywalker doesn't do as much damage. So, of course, you're sacrificing 2 teams to do that.
Yeah, agree. This is actually a great Skywalker counter because Skywalker actually controls a team by critting and reducing their cooldowns. And 2 of the 3 characters here can't be crit at all due to guard. So both Bam and Han will have that protection against Skywalker.
Right, and if you have the second Zeta on Chewie, I think the Loyal Friend is the better one, but if you have the second one, he's also immune to cooldown increase anyways.
Yep.
So if you're facing General Skywalker does an AoE, no one is reducing their cooldowns against him.
Absolutely. Yep, that's a great point. Yep.
Yep. Yep, it's a good point. How full of myself am I? Don't answer that. So this is one team that so Vader is being forced to accept his reduced role in this game right now. And right now, like in 5s, he's good with Lord Vader. But in 3s, I think he's just going to get kicked to the curb because Lord Vader's going to want Maul and he's going to want like the Royal Guard is my guess. And so Darth Vader's like, so what do I do? And if he's on my roster, Gideon and Thrawn are both like, we're gonna ditch you too. We're gonna go hang out with Stormtrooper, which you guys can learn about that in the defensive comps video. But this is a really fun team though, Endall. You want to explain how it works, the mechanics of Vader with Mission Zalbar?
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, Vader used to be good, but in 3s, but now, you can't use him with against JKL because his damage is lacking. You can't use him against DR anymore because, again, his damage is lacking. So after the reworks, like you said, Vader is sort of left in the cold. This particular team, Vader, Zalbar, and Mission, they do so many things with dots. Vader's leadership ability obviously prevents the dots from getting dispelled and cleansed. And Zalbar and Mission are great characters to have as support for Vader. Zalbar is going to be taunting quite a lot and with retribution. And every time that he hits back, Mission is going to assist, land those more dots and more dazes, all of that stuff. And every time that Zalbar takes a turn, he gets, if the enemy has dots, he gets fully healed up. So you've got a Zalbar who is constantly at 100% protection with stacking defense. And then you've got Vader and Mission just, wrecking havoc on the side. So great team to have, on offense, just primarily because there's a very high chance you end with 54 banners because dots give both Mission and Zalbar 100% protection. And now with Vader's rework, he not only recovers health when the enemy's dots gets reapplied, but he recovers protection as well, which is a great thing to have. So there you see, there's 2% protection recovery whenever a damage over time on the enemy expires. So high chance of ending with 54 banners here.
Yeah, I think this is the team that I used to love the idea of. Like I called it Vader Strangle back way in the day before Merciless Massacre was a thing. Back before I used to mispronounce Merciless Massacre every time. All the OGs here can remember that I struggled remembering what MM stood for. I made things up. But that being said, this is like the perfect Vader Strangle team because you're hiding behind a good tank and you're just putting all these dots here. No one is getting rid of their dots and he is just slowly strangling the team. And I mean, that's what he's going to be doing, but you get good banners here. I am super excited to use this team on offense this season. Okay, this team, Padme with JKA and Cat, this is a really cool team. I've actually killed a couple good teams with it. What are your thoughts on it, though? And Cat has to go somewhere, probably with Jedi Master Kenobi, if he's available. But if he's not, Padme's an okay option, I think.
Yeah, I think, Cat is such a great character that she's a great complement to the light side GLs, both Rey as well as Jedi Master Kenobi. But if you don't have any one of those or if you're not using Cat with them, then Padme and Anakin are a great spot for Cat. Because if you remember, Padme's leadership gives 50% extra health. Cat's unique gives another 50% extra health. And this team, Padme lead, relies so much on health that having both of them together on the team really elevates a team to another level, and it increases their survivability, it increases their damage through courage, and it you've got an annihilate in the form of Cat as well, because after a few turns you're going to come to her force sleep and you can really take care of the team.
Yeah, I've taken out Darth Revan. I think I took out one Darth Revan team with Malak and everything with this team, just because if you can get a turn, if you survive long enough with Cat, she's just gonna kill Malak, and then it's game over. And all of your courage and all those interactions, like it's just way tougher to kill the team because your stacks of protection are way higher, and your just health pool is higher. So you're not going to get great banners with this team unless you go first. But it's
And there's a high chance you go first because cats are usually very fast. So mine is like 350, 360. I could just pass the turn over to Padme, get protection up, and then your team is safe for at least one round of enemy attacks.
Yeah, it's awesome. I have mine is at 343, but she has crit damage mods. I think she should have offense. Now that I'm just like thinking about it, I think that's probably more effective. But one way or another, she's pretty good with that team. And then that frees up Ahsoka to go back to one of my very favorite teams. Like right now, I know not everyone has Ki-Adi-Mundi, but more and more guilds are unlocking him. Basti, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and Ahsoka have so much just redundancy in all the different cool stuff they do. In 5v5, it's maybe less effective, but 3v3, I mean, it's hard to find a squad that's more versatile and deals as much damage as this squad.
It does, and especially on offense, there's a very high chance you end with full banners just because of Basti lead. They are sped up because of Basti lead, they've got extra bonus protection, and their offense is boosted up. So Cam is going all sorts of mad with the offense boost from Basti lead and all the offensive buffs that Basti gives him as well.
Yeah, it's really cool. And then like a lot of the issues in 3v3 is like people are going to have taunting tanks, and you have Basti who has her dispel, and then Ahsoka, whenever she hits with her basic, she also dispels, and so you also have that available to you. And a lot of times Ki-Adi-Mundi will just dispel the life of whoever he's hitting, so even if it's a tank, he just like one shot kills things. This team is actually, if you are desperate and you need to two-shot, if you need to kill a Darth Revan team, you can actually use burners to have them use all of their different specials. And then this team, I've gone, I think, 3 or 4 out. Like, I've never come even close to losing with this team against Darth Revan if the Darth Revan team has all their good specials burned. So, I mean, there's a big caveat, but this team is a great cleanup squad for Darth Revan as well.
And Cam and Ahsoka go so well together because Cam, he does his, his stance change, which is a special. Ahsoka assists, and that immediately gives, Cam another turn because, he's just done a stance change. He gets 100% turn meter. He does another special. Ahsoka assists again. So every time Ki-Adi-Mundi goes, there's a chance for 4 attacks from your team onto the enemy team.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. This team has a lot of good control. Control through death in the form of Ki-Adi-Mundi, but he also has an AoE daze and stuff. I don't know how many people knew that. He actually even has a taunt if you want to be bold and apply that Omega. Come on, guys, you want to do it. But yeah, that team, it's more exciting to me, to be honest, than this Jedi Revan team. In fact, even though the Jedi Revan team may end up being a little bit higher weight category, I mean, the Jedi Revan team, it's been around for years, and yet it's still like, this is roughly what I would use even to finish off a Galactic Legend, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's got tons of assists, especially with an R8 Yoda that most people have. Tons of assists, tons of damage, foresight, revives, 2 forms of revives, in fact, with Savior as well as Jolie. So, very versatile, very flexible team to have on offense.
Yeah, I really like this team. I like that Revan can target who he wants, and he makes the rest of the team target as well. Like that mark, the non-dispellable mark is just so wonderful. Even still, like it doesn't exist in this game except from him. He's the only one who causes that, and it is such a valuable tool to be able to be like, okay, we're gonna have every single person on this team ignore taunt. In 3v3, taunting tanks are a big deal, and if you can just ignore them on a whim and have all of your Jedi just WTF pwn whoever's marked, it's nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Geos, I'm always suspicious of Geos because they only get a 51 a lot of times. You can't really control it, but they also get a 51 or sometimes a 54 if they have, as we said, if they have a thick IG-11. They always beat the Bando team though. I haven't seen it come close, at least for me, the teams that I've encountered. What other uses though do Geos have? Like Bando, check mark, that's why you want them on offense every time, but what else do you use?
Yeah, I mean, you have those random bounty hunter teams that pop up sometimes, boss lead and all, and these guys just, they completely clean them out. Other teams I would say would be, what else? Let me see. I mean, there are a lot of B and A minus teams that these guys can do a good job of wrecking. Sometimes, if you've got a highly relic spy, you maybe might be able to snipe a GL on a cleanup, but that's become more rough now with the reworks. But yeah, I mean, you've got a few options for these guys on offense.
Yeah, I think so. They're pretty cool. They're pretty neat. Okay, so on offense, guys, the new hotness with Bad Batch is Hunter, Echo, and Wrecker. I know that last season I used Tech instead of Wrecker the whole time, and that actually worked out just fine every single time. But Wrecker is even better because he is applying that. He does his AoE that can stun everyone, but two-turn stun. But even if he doesn't two-turn stun everyone, he can also he gives everyone that defense pennant, or I guess it's defense up, which in turn Hunter turns that into true damage, which is the new crit. Actually, like that's the new fancy type of damage.
Yeah, I mean, these guys will do great against, Grievous teams, against crew teams, which are very susceptible to true damage. So yeah, that's Wrecker is that both Wrecker's AoE, second special, as well as Echo's basic, both give true defense up, which enables a team to really, keep cycling that true damage out, which is great.
Yeah, this team is so underrated. Like 5v5, it's nice because you can use the full team, but 3v3, they're just as effective. It's just a little more awkward, is all. And get that Echo fast. He's one of the fastest base speeds in the game. He is so easy to make. Like, well, maybe not so easy, but you can make him 350 without too much issue. Like,
And
what's my
yeah,
nav? Yeah, 350.
349, yeah, that's nice. Yeah. And use this team against other characters which have buffs on them, just so that you can boost up the speed of your team a little more. Because whenever Echo goes and dispels the buffs, he gives extra turn meter to the whole Bad Batch team.
Yeah, it's actually nice. If Dooku is super fast and is faster than the rest of your team, then he'll have all his buffs. Like everyone will have their stealth up, and Echo will just be like, "Haha! Here's some turn meter for everyone." Or crew is another top target for it. So Mothra with Cassian and K2, so they're in exile during 5v5. Very rarely use them. Andor, I do use him sometimes to get that healing immune, but in 3v3, this trio, they kill so much. They take out the Hux team, they take out like most General Grievous teams. It's very impressive. Have you been using this team much, Endall?
My K2SO and Andor are not that high relic up. I mean, they're only G11, I think, G10 or G11. So I don't use these specific characters, but I do use Mon Mothma on offense. I don't keep her on defense in threes. I think it's just not worth it. It gets taken out very cheaply. But I do use Mothma with a couple of characters on offense. They're good for getting a decent turn meter train started and healing up and ending with decent banners, at least against B and C teams.
Yeah, I think Mothra, I mean, she's just got such good mechanics. All the stats sharing, all of the assisting. It's a lot more fun than I had actually anticipated the squad being.
Yeah.
All right, now for our final two teams. I really like both of them. So this is one that you and I will probably rave about until our dying breath. Stormtrooper Han, Watt, and Wampa. I mean, people say that Watt is not useful anymore because of his defense ignore thing is being gone now, and that is a sad aspect. But I mean, he still makes this team spin. I feel like.
Absolutely. I mean, Watt is, I think these three characters make such a great trio, Han, Watt, and Wampa. Watt giving that taunting tech to Han. Anyway, Han has got so many ways of recovering protection, his own Zeta, and with Watt giving him that tech as well, he's able to recover extra protection over there, and his lead gives him extra defense while he's at above 50% health. So that just makes Stormtrooper Han a tank, and there's nothing which can get through to him. And Watt giving the weapons tech to Wampa, even if he doesn't ignore defense, he still hits pretty damn hard. He's got the ability to ramp up damage because of his unique. So even if he's not ignoring defense, you'll reach a point pretty soon, within a minute or two, where your Wampa is doing insane damage. And it's really effective against teams like Mon Mothma, for example, in 3v3, that Wampa will just chew through just because they're rebels. So any rebel squad that you see, any squad which do a lot of these paper cut kind of damage, this particular team is really great against. And a very high chance of ending with 54 banners.
How happy do you think Wampa was when the rebels decided to colonize Hoth, or to like turn it into a base in the movies? Like, he's like, oh, I get to use this rebel anti-rebels bonus that I've always had for no reason.
I know, yeah, it must have been the happiest thing over there.
Yeah, he was excited till he lost his arm. But
I know that my Wampa was really happy when Mon Mothma came out, because people never used to keep rebels on defense before that, and all of a sudden you're seeing rebel teams everywhere on defense. So my R7 Wampa had a feast since then.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I should actually put a couple relic levels on him, but he's I really do like him. And guys, put the good Zeta on him, okay? So final team, and this is, maybe I was exaggerating when I said I love this team so much, but I put relics on T3 because I want his ship to be good for the Executor annoying counter that we have to endure every single match now, at least at the higher end of GAC. And so I was like, you know what? I have relic 8 on Grievous, and T3 actually goes kind of well with him. I know you have your objections to this. Endall, what are your thoughts on this team? I'm curious, because I kind of, B2 is actually probably much better here, but...
So on defense, I agree, B2 is better. But since we're having an offensive conversation, I think this team does pretty well. I mean, IG and General Grievous do a great job of going together. Yes, there is a little bit of banner loss with Grievous's unique for other droids on the team. And it's double the case for light side droids like T3M4. But T3M4 does boost Grievous's damage quite a lot, increases his damage, his defense penetration, all of that. And IG and T3M4 also has an ability to heal himself or heal any other droid. There is that ability. So there is that, there is that little bit of a cushion that you can heal with his first special, I believe. You can also push turn meter back, and every time he goes, he really increases the damage on all the droids. Plus, he does have a lot of target lock synergy, and Grievous's lead relies a lot on target lock, and T3M4 has an ability to apply target lock, to make use of target lock. So there is that extra bit of synergy in this team as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that make me think like they maybe were thinking of Grievous when they made T3, and they wanted to do he's light side, but he's the one character. He's the reason we have a unique tag in the game. It's not being used. It's never been used, but he's the one reason, because he was unique with Revan back in the day. But yeah, he buffs Grievous so much. I mean, with all the defense penetration, you have to put him up to relics to actually get use out of that. But I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, he was the main reason that the whole Grievous nuke squad worked at all against Darth Revan, just because he amped up Grievous to these crazy damage levels. So on offense, against a team where you need high burst damage, if you're able to survive long enough to amp up Grievous to that much, this can do a pretty decent job.
Yeah, I think so. I need to remod him. I need to figure out what he even wants. But yeah, he's fun. He's got the dispel, etc. And Grievous on offense, I think, you and I were talking about what a liability is on defense these days, because there's so many just random teams that just take Grievous out. Like 5v5, he's still a pretty decent team on defense. 3v3, he just loses. Like Traya is just like, come here, Grievous, let me kill you.
Yeah,
like, everyone does. So.
Yeah, so might as well use him on offense and try to at least take a tough team out. Like you said, the one disadvantage is loss of banners, but if you're in a pinch and you have a tough team and you've got Grievous on offense, you can take him against that. But having him on offense also gives you the flexibility to use him solo against a really weak team.
Yeah, and that's absolutely true as well. So I think we're at the end of our list, guys. There's 15 teams that don't have Galactic Legends. I hope this is useful. Endall, thank you so much for joining me today. Your insights are always just super valuable.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me on. These are always my favorite discussions of the month.
Absolutely, man. And looking forward to hanging out with you on Gambit Roundtable in a couple days. Should be awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, thank you all so much for watching. And remember that in all things, Gambit prevails. Stay tuned for that defensive comp video. Should be in a day or two, folks.